Hey guys, how are we doing? Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back another video. So we've got a lot of positives to talk about, and then I'm going to talk about short-term price action, and then I'm talking about what is coming next. So before we start this video, what I want to say is, in case I don't get into it when I get in the momentum of this video, we have done the majority of the move that I thought we were going to do. We've come down, we've taken the majority of the liquidity for XRP, for ETH. We've touched the liquidity I wanted to touch for Bitcoin on that double bottom, like 100 sort of K level. Whether we get down to the 97K is up for discussion. We're going to get into that in a minute. But what I'm saying is, I was confident we would come down. I've been writing about that for months. I've been talking about it for literally weeks on video after video on YouTube. What comes next in the short term, I am less confident on. So short term, maybe a week or so. After that, I am more confident that we see significant upside in crypto. You know how I was saying, look, I really think we're coming down. Now I really think we're going up. I'm just trying to work out how we get there to go up, okay? So, a few of the things we're going to talk about here don't have to come into fruition for us to head to the upside. This is why I've been saying, and especially when we're at those lows, and I wrote about it in the newsletter, if we come down any further than we are now, it's a great place to buy alt spot, to add to your bags and have your bids in. And some of them will have got filled and some may not. Okay, with all that being said, I allocated all of my capital to all of the spare capital I was going to buy spot with to ENA, that I was going to buy ENA with. It was allocated. Didn't get the perfect bottom, maybe got around 23 cents. We're now up at 26. Now let's talk about alts, Bitcoin, and what potentially comes next. So this is Bitcoin to start with. You can see these drawings on the screen. You remember me drawing this pattern. What I said is I thought we'd see is we come up, we come down, and we set a higher low on the RSI and a lower low in price action. That would be a perfect bottoming structure. I'm going to delete this. Doesn't look like we've got that structure yet, although I would not be surprised by Bitcoin at some point at least having a pullback into maybe this 102, 101k area, if not coming down to flush the lows. And I'll explain why right now. And when I say flush the lows, I mean literally just wicking below and making everyone panic about, oh my God, are we going lower? What's happening, basically? So I'll take us to the hourly first, just because it's been a fantastic bounce here. It's exactly what you want to see. Great volume came in right here. Look, this is people. These are positions getting stopped out. This is expectation of us breaking ranges. We didn't quite get all of that break, and now we've just chopped up higher, and we're actually creating bearish divergences on the hourly. Look, as the hourly makes lower highs on the RSI, and Bitcoin price action makes higher highs as price like consolidates. Now, when we get in these reversal patterns, these can quite easily, even though they are actually bearish reversal patterns here, because it's an ascending triangle, it should be a bit of a breakdown, like maybe into the areas I talked about, 101, whatever. They can, when we are bullish, trick people and push us to the upside. The one thing that I will say is, I think sentiments like this right now, we came down here, oh my God, we're so bearish, worst news ever, World War III, we bounced, we came down, we retested that. Okay, everything's sorted, the war's over, everyone's talking and happy friends again, and Trump's trying to pass the bill, which is positive liquidity for markets. Oh my God, we're so bullish, we're so bullish, we're so bullish. What catalyst do we need to break us out? Fake to the downside. All of a sudden, everyone's like, oh my God, I thought we were bullish. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Bang here, flip bearish. Okay, it's the end of the world. Like, the bill's not going to get passed. And even if it does, like crypto's going to zero. Like no one likes crypto, bounce. And all those people start shorting in this area, get trapped, and off we go. And that bounce could come in here or there. I think that's the sort of narrative that I'm looking at that will probably play out here at some point. On the other hand, as I said, we could just start to see a bit of fear in here and creep to the upside, start to get these breakouts, and everyone doesn't believe the rally because everyone thinks then, oh, we are going to come down here, and maybe we do, and going to continue higher. I'm very unsure about what happens in the short term. However, let me just show you a few things with altcoins. So looking at XRP, what is this spike in liquidity here, in open interest here? On the hourly, at this point right here, yesterday, 10 o'clock, June 24th, we had a monumental spike up in liquidity. In open interest compared to what we've been seeing recently, and probably long because funding was green, so mainly long positions I would expect have come in there. Now, what does this mean? One, people might know something. that sometimes happens before some news comes out or something along those lines. People know that the news is coming, front run the news with a large amount of open interest. On the other hand, people might just be getting overly speculative on something. Remember, we did talk about this. Big push up here was at the same sort of time. No, that's the day before. So, sorry. Yeah, people might know something. I don't know. But I would be cautious that where this came in is right here. So if we start to lose the stop loss levels, which are probably going to be like here, obviously, liquidity is going to be below there. We could quite easily return into the $2 range just for another back test before we really start working out there and flush that open interest down. Again, could be wrong. These sort of structures, they're difficult to work out, but wouldn't be surprised if a test to the downside, and then you've got this liquidity here that you still need to flush as well. So there is a way that you just come down there, you sweep that, and off you go. That's what I think is possible. I closed my XRP longs because I'm obviously massively allocated in spot. Because of these scenarios, I think it's been pretty easy to the upside, and the narrative has matched the positive move in crypto. Everyone's all of a sudden happy clappy around the world, although this morning it seems that the ceasefire may not be obliged by both sides. So narrative is something I watch in crypto. It does not the be all and end all. The charts tell me the story first, as we've been able to predict this pullback, but narrative is a part of the story. And if the narrative matches the price action, I do start to get a little bit cautious, especially as it went from like peak fear narrative to almost peak bull narrative overnight. And we did have a lovely rally off that, but we haven't managed to break any significant highs yet for anything, really. Well, there's a few alts that are, which is a positive sign. I think the market overall looks bullish. It's just working out, as I said, the short-term chop. I'll show you something that actually has been breaking out to the upside, which is Say. I don't hold any. I just was watching it. It's broke its recent swing highs. Good sign for altcoins to say, okay, look, we are starting to see some things with big volume break out of their ranges. Obviously, we need a lot of confirmation still. This could still chop down here, and then the next leg is what I think will be explosive to the upside. That's the next big move, and then I think that a lot of altcoins are going to do something very similar. But again, we're just navigating the short term. Now, looking at trading different here. This is Bitcoin. This is showing us the liquidity pools. We have the significant liquidity above us. We're talking about this like little time frame here where we're just in here. Do we come down? Do we get this test to 94k? Genuinely, I don't know. We're in decision making period here. I do think this is a very likely level to just to take that liquidity there. It makes a lot of sense to at least come down to like 102. If not a little bit lower to like between 101 and 102, maybe 100k. Makes a lot of sense. We've got this fair value gap here. We've got a lot of liquidity building it. We probably quite easily, quickly flush that. If people have got stop losses in here, late longs, they'll get stopped and you'll come into here. Then it's decision making time whether we do that, and we could just chop there and then reverse. This is going to get taken, this liquidity above us at 113,000, and then this is where it gets really exciting, because if I take us to the daily time frame, hopefully I've still got all my drawings left in there so I can show you guys exactly what I've talked about for weeks, had it on the newsletter. This area we get into here, we start to take that 112, 113k. This is probably the start of alt season. This liquidity there probably sends us up into this box above, and we're now starting to see even more liquidity build at around 136k. Things are going to get super exciting super quickly when we start to break these swing highs. This is what happened last time, back in, when was this? November of last year. This is when XRP started to move. This break here into here, XRP moves, and look how dense our liquidity is now, even compared to then. This is the first time we've seen the liquidity above us be more dense than it was back then. This is a catalyst for an explosive move to the upside and across the market, not just in Bitcoin. Let's have a look at XRP and ETH. We'll look at XRP first. The same rhetoric repeats across everything. Look, all the dense liquidity is above us here at XRP. We do still have a dense little yellow pool here at 187, 186, and a little bit below us at the 175 sort of level. As I said, that's a blessing entry if you get offered that. I'm not saying we will, I'm not saying we won't. I don't know what the narrative will be. The short term, I'm really unsure on now, because we've done the major move that I wanted us to do. Next move, I'm more confident on is that we're going to go significantly higher. and then start to head to all-time highs probably for XRP here. And you can see just as easily how that can cascade to the upside. We start blasting through this liquidity, and we're going to be off to the races there for XRP. Now looking at ETH quickly. Excuse me. ETH's the same. Tiny bit of liquidity looks still left below us at like the 2,000 level. But realistically, the only real areas of dense liquidity now are all the way up there at all-time highs for ETH. $4,200 with a little bit of liquidity sitting above us at $3,000-ish. I'll take us down to the hourly because we haven't looked at the hourly for a little while. I can show you that we did blast through a lot of the deep liquidity there for ETH. We took the major pull. This is what I wanted us to take, as you guys know, around $2,200. We swept all that, and similarly, let's just look at XRP on the hourly. So you can see the picture I'm trying to paint to you guys. We've done the move that I wanted us to do. Exciting. XRP took that major area of liquidity. I said we're going to take that. I was confident we were. We're going to have a tiny little bit more look below us. Do we get it? Do we not? I don't know. Between 88 and 91 cent, for example, 188 and 191. And then look, even on the hourly, significantly more liquidity above us. I worry that this is quite... this structure here needs back testing. So at the very least, I would expect 202 if we start to get that little pullback in Bitcoin. And then it's really like, it's just a guessing game of how these corrective structures work. And before we start to get these more significant breaks to the upside. And the more we like chop around now in this sort of area, the more it's like a coiled spring waiting to push us up higher when we break out of this zone. So I hope that makes sense to everybody with everything that I've just said. The last few charts I want to cover here are Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance wicked into the alt season start box. I do think there's a chance that if, for example, Bitcoin does have that short-term pullback, the alts pull down deeper, giving Bitcoin dominance that last little spurt here. We've got a bearish divergence still on pretty much all time frames for Bitcoin dominance. I'm not going to go too deeply into it. Could we just spurt up to 66.5% and then pull back? Something I'm watching, and then that's where Bitcoin goes to bounce, altcoins outperform on the bounce, Bitcoin goes and breaks all-time highs, and altcoins really surge, and everyone's happy clappy, and we all sing around together going, yay, look at watch our coins go to all-time highs. Looking at XRP ETH, this is something that's been a bit interesting for me the last few days, and I haven't really covered on it too much. The RSI started to bounce up, showing the momentum is changing, and we have pulled up from the bottom. We're just battling a key level now for XRP ETH. Definitely something to watch here. Yes, there could potentially be short-term pullback, but it looks like the momentum to the downside is really waning on XRP ETH, making me feel that the next leg for XRP ETH is loading, and I think it will be a significant leg to the upside. Same with XRP dominance. This kind of feels like a Wyckoff accumulation spring phase. We've come down, we've flushed this area, we're into the key area of support that the last little flush has just come. Now we're just waiting to see what is the reaction. Is there one last little push down? Do we come down to this 3.71 level, fake everyone out, and then really send it to the upside? Again, I don't know, but that's something I'm watching for. And at XRP Bitcoin, still chopping around just below this key resistance level that I've shown you guys so many times here. Keeps wicking into it, bouncing off, wicked into it again 2 days ago, bounced off. Will the next leg have enough power for us to break through and also break through this downtrend? And that's when we can start to see confirmations on XRP ETH, XRP Bitcoin, XRP dominance about XRP's next leg. And I presume it will be one of the leaders in the alt season that is incoming, as it was one of the leaders in the push before Christmas. So that's everything that I've got for you guys right now. We've got a very dynamic and changing landscape. Trying to work out the short term here is difficult. If you get offered, if you've not allocated and you feel like you've missed the bottom, if you get a red day or two, get your money in my opinion, and then just sit back. And even if you come down a little bit further, don't worry about it and just wait. I think the next significant leg is to the upside. Been right so far. Let's see if that continues. The short term, as I said, I'm less confident on. The medium to long term, I'm now super confident the upside move has come in. We've got the main flush to the downside that I wanted. Is there a tiny bit more to go? Is there just some messing around to do? I don't know. I presume there will be. There normally is. People get despondent. Oh my God, I thought we were going up right now. We haven't. Like, what's going on? It's never going to go up. Blah, blah, blah. All this shit. And that's when you start to send it to the upside. And we're not seeing that yet. what we're seeing is everyone's buzzing because they got some bids filled and the war's over, whatever. And so that doesn't quite fit yet, but we're close. So that's where I think we are. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, please do subscribe to the channel. It helps me out. It's completely free to do. Hit the like button if you enjoyed as well, and share it with a friend. If you've got any questions, please let me know in the comments section. If you want to place any leverage trades, I have a link to MEXC and WEX in the description below. It would mean a lot to me if you would use those to sign up. If you want to use them, they're both non-KYC exchanges. Also, we do a weekly in-depth analysis and newsletter. We're 12th in the weekly rising newsletters and 95th in crypto newsletters overall on Substack. So go and check that out if you want to see more of our in-depth analysis. Peace up, A-Town out, as Crypto Insight UK would say.